Ball Talk family, what's going on? It's your host Paul back with another episode of Ball Talk with Paul. And tonight we got some more heat for you guys. We're going to start off with the NFL and how things are heating up. And then we have some college football action. Those rankings are definitely getting shaped up. Also, we're going to be talking some NBA, starting off with the fireworks this year. And then we have the MLB World Series to talk about. So let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. So we got to start off with those Philadelphia Eagles and the statement win against the Minnesota Vikings, 28-22 last week. Now, my boy Jalen Hurts was tested in a big way against Brian Flores' defense, but he passed that test with flying colors, going 19 for 23 for 326 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Oh, and no interceptions, getting himself a perfect passer rating, getting himself a perfect passer rating of 158.6. The first player that's done that this season, man. So my quarterback, he just balled out and he responded in a big way when everybody thought, oh, Jalen Hurts can't pass the ball. He can't pass over the middle. He's not seeing his reads correctly. And that's just not the case, guys. I've been screaming this for weeks. It is the offensive play calling, and Kevin Patullo finally dialed up perfect plays in the situations where we needed them, because we all knew Brian Flores' defense was going to blitz heavy. They had a lot of zero blitz coverages, leaving one-on-one opportunities for A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, who both had career days. Who both had amazing days. Devontae Smith led us with 180 receiving yards and a touchdown. Hit a career day for him, big time for Smitty. Then also A.J. Brown had over 120 receiving yards with 2 touchdowns, man. And I know A.J. has been yearning to get more involved in the offense, and this is just the beginning for him. So I'm happy to see that. But unfortunately, my running game still is not going. Saquon Barkley has still not eclipsed over 100 rushing yards in a season in the season yet. And we have to get that fixed. I think my O-line, we still kind of banged up. Cam Jurgens is kind of hurt. Landon Dickerson is still battling injuries. And Tyler Steen, he's just not as effective as we thought he would be in our system. So we're still figuring some things out with the offensive line. But it was good to see that pass game get on track, man, because everybody was doubting my quarterback again. And I hate to say this repeatedly, but he is an elite quarterback, because that is what elite quarterbacks do. They respond when everybody is turning their backs on them and their back is against the wall. Jalen Hurts knew what he had to do into this game, and he executed it perfectly, man. Throwing a deep ball, throwing across the middle, making timely decisions, not turning the ball over. That's my quarterback, baby. That's why I got him ranked number 1 in the league right now, because he responds every time people doubt him. And I just love that characteristic about him, man. So shout out to the Eagles on that, and shout out to the Eagles getting that 28-22 victory against a pretty good Vikings defense, man, because everybody knows the Vikings defense is a top 5 passing defense, and they have been stopping guys. I know they haven't really played a lot of formidable quarterbacks, but they have been putting on the show. But they we can't take away from what they did defensively. Now, offensively, they were led by Carson Wentz, and we all know Carson Wentz is just not a starter in this league anymore. He is a serviceable backup at best, but he just can't make timely decisions. He loves holding on to the ball, turns the ball over like crazy. So we knew what we had to do. And shout out to my defense as well, man. We made some big plays with Jalen Hunt with that pick 6, man, early on in the game. Forced by Jalen Carter, by the way, because he's the one who got the pressure in Carson's face, who made him throw that bad pass. So shout out to Jalen and Jalen for teaming up with that pick. And then shout out to Andrew McCuba, also catching the moon ball that went through. Makuba is looking like a ball hawk that we needed in that secondary, because we all know we're young back there. We have a lot of first year, second year guys back there, but Makuba is looking like he's going to develop into something special in that secondary, and I'm excited to see his progression as he comes along. Hopefully, he could just continue to work on his tackling, because that is one of his biggest issues right now. A lot of missed tackles, but he is definitely a ball hawk, something that we are missing in that secondary. And then also Cooper DeJean, man, breaking up that pass in the back of the end zone against Justice Jefferson. Man, you talk about just fundamentally sound, technically sound. Cooper DeJean does it all, man. He tackles, he covers, he calls out plays, he changes plays, man. He does whatever he needs to do to get his job done. I just love DeJean. I'm so glad that we got him on our team. He's a versatile corner, one of the best in the league in my eyes, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. So shout out to the defense, man. Shout out to the offense for handling business, and shout out to those Eagles for taking care of those Vikings. Now, sticking with the Eagles, we have some big news in Philadelphia. Brandon Graham is unretiring. He's getting up off the couch and going to help us out with our pass rush because we desperately need it, man. And then we had Zadarius Smith, who abruptly retired during the middle of the season, which kind of left a bitter taste in all of our mouths. But we're not going to really talk about that because we want to shine the light on BG, man. I appreciate BG for coming back, man, because I know he's not going to only lead us on the field, but off the field, man. He's going to help mentor these young guys and continue to just feed into them because that's definitely what we were missing on that defensive side. Somebody who can really be vocal out there, the guys lean on and listen to. And BG is just a perfect guy. He's been doing it for us for the last 15 years, now going on to his 16th year. So I'm just excited to see him back doing what he loves to do, talking trash and going out there, getting after the quarterback, stopping the run. That's just Brandon Graham, man. So shout out to Brandon Graham for making a huge decision, man, coming back and helping the Philadelphia Eagles hope get another ring. And if he leaves out on a back-to-back Super Bowl championship, man, we might have to start talking about him being a Hall of Famer for sure. So shout out to Brandon Graham and can't wait to see you ball, brother. So now let's talk about some teams that's really been impressing me up to this point of the season, man. Got to start off with those Los Angeles Rams. They just had a big time win in London against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 35-7. Matthew Stafford, although he only had 180 passing yards, although he only had 180 passing yards, he had 5 touchdowns, man, and no interception. Big time play from Matt Stafford. And 3 of those touchdowns went to reliable Devontae Adams because we all know Puka Nacua is still injured. But Devontae stepped up in a major way, bringing in 3 of those touchdowns, man. So the Rams, they're definitely looking like they're poised to make a deep run in the NFC because they have everything that they need to win. Even when they're missing their top guy, they still are on point on offense and have a great passing game and a decent running game with Kyrie Williams. So I expect them to go deep into playoffs as long as they don't face those Philadelphia Eagles. And that young defense they have, led by Byron Young, he has about 9 sacks, I think. And also Jared Verse. They have a lot of versatile guys who can do some things, man. And I just like what they're doing right now, led by Sean McVay. He knows how to make the best out of his roster for sure. So shout out to the Rams for getting that huge victory in London because it seems like Jacksonville forgot they were playing because they barely got anything going. The only thing they really had going was Travis Hunter. He finally got going. He had over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence finally gave him some decent targets. So maybe they would keep that recipe going, but I don't know if that's the recipe for success because if he's the only one getting off, you're not going to win any game. So they have to get that figured out. But the Rams, they definitely handle business, and I expect them to be a threat deep in the postseason. So the next team on the rise we got to talk about is those Kansas City Chiefs, man. And they are definitely looking like the old Chiefs kingdom that we are accustomed to seeing. With a 31-0 blowout win against those Las Vegas Raiders, led by Patrick Mahomes. He looks like he is back in his MVP form, man. He had over 286 passing yards with 3 passing touchdowns. And plus, he has his number 1 receiver back with Rashee Rice coming back with 42 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. He's definitely looking hungry and ready to make up for the time that he lost due to suspension. And I know his other teammates are happy, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, because that's just going to open up more receiving lanes for them as well. So the Chiefs offense is definitely rolling. And also their defense is looking back to normal as well, man. They have a boost in morale, seems like. They look like they figured out the scheme that Spagnuolo is trying to run. And they have been shutting teams out for the most part the last couple of weeks. So be on the lookout for those Kansas City Chiefs because we all know you can never count them out. They're 4-3 now. And I know the Chargers are still looking relevant, but we all know when it's crunch time, you can never count out Mahomes. So shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs for handling business and looking like the Super Bowl contenders we know. And the last team on the rise that we have to talk about, but I don't think anybody saw coming this year, is those Indianapolis Colts, led by Danny Indiana Jones, man. They are 6-1. They beat the Chargers last week, 38-24. And I don't think anybody expected that performance from them, because we didn't expect them to be this good, this fast. But they are looking like serious, but they are looking like serious contenders, led by Shane Steichen, their head coach, former Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator. Shane knows what he's doing. And if he gets the guys that can run his system, which he has, he looks like he's going to be a problem for the next couple of years. Daniel Jones, I'm so glad he got out of New York, man, because as we all know, New York just don't know how to take care of their talent, man. And we all thought it was just Daniel Jones' fault, but it wasn't. He looks like he is happy. He's found a new home in Indy, and he's comfortable. And then he also has a great running back in his backfield, Jonathan Taylor, man. That guy is looking like he's on a mission this year as well, because I think he's been underrated and underappreciated for most of his career just because of his situation. But now he's looking like a problem. He had 95 rushing yards with 3 touchdowns, and he's definitely a leading candidate for the Offensive Player of the Year. So be on the lookout for him. But not only Jonathan, they have Tyler Warren, their rookie tight end. He's been a consistent factor. He had he had about 70 yards receiving and a touchdown. And then they have Michael Pittman Jr. He's been a consistent number 1 as well. He had about 58 receiving yards and a touchdown. And then Alec Pierce, their wide receiver 2, had 98 receiving yards. So this team is clicking, man. And not only mention the offense, the defense is looking good as well. Led by DeForest Buckner. They have Travers Ward. They have a bunch of guys that are just dogs out there and can go get the football anywhere it is on the field. They have guys that are fundamentally sound. So I like what this Indianapolis Colts team is doing. I didn't have them doing this well, but they are shocking me, and they are shocking the world. So shout out to the Colts for handling business, man. And I think with this run, they should make a good playoff run and hopefully get a playoff win. So we shall see what the Indianapolis Colts do down in the future. So on the flip side of teams who are on the downside and going downhill fast, I have to start off with the Houston Texans, man. I had the Houston Texans win the AFC South, but just like I said about those Colts, it doesn't look like it's happening. The Texans, led by C.J. Stroud, they're just not protecting him and getting him the help that he really needs. His receivers are inconsistent. Nico Collins is a good wide receiver 1, but he just can't he just can't be consistent this year. He's been either hurt or dropping balls when they hit him dead in the hand. So that's not a good look for the Texans. And not only that, they can't get anything going on the run. They have absolutely no running game with Joe Mixon being out. Nick Chubb, we all know he's not the same Nick Chubb that we're used to seeing. And it's just looking bad, man. The offensive line can't protect CJ in pass protection. And then also their defense on paper looks pretty good, but when they're on the field too long, they just can't hold up against anybody. So the Texans have to get this figured out because they didn't look good against the Seahawks. CJ Stroud had an interception. He only threw for about 220 yards. So they have to figure this out, man, if they really want to be competitive again and want to make another playoff run. But I don't think it's going to happen this year because I just think they have too many things going against them. So hopefully the Houston Texans get right because I do like D'Amico Ryans as their head coach and C.J. Stroud. I like him as a quarterback. So hopefully they figure these things out quickly. Another team that looks absolutely terrible is those New York Jets, man. Unfortunately, we thought Justin Fields was going to be the spark that they needed, but he just looks like he can't get the job done in tight ball games or when they really need him the most. And unfortunately, I hate that for him because I like Justin Fields. I thought he was a good quarterback coming out of Ohio State. But the situation in New York is just not something he's able to turn around. I don't think anybody can, honestly, because they just have too much going on. Their offensive weapons are not that consistent. Breece Hall has had a terrible year. Garrett Wilson hasn't been much this year. So they need to figure things out in New York, and I don't know where it's going to start because they do have a good defense. They have one of the highest paid defenses in the league, led by Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. They have some pieces, but they just can't put it together. I also feel bad for Aaron Glenn because he's a first-time head coach. I know he just wanted an opportunity in the NFL to be a head coach, but everybody knows taking a job in New York is a risky business, and he's definitely taking on a huge risk. But I think this week Tyrod Taylor may start if he gets clear from that knee injury I think he took. So hopefully they might get, hopefully he might get them back on track. But we all know the Jets will always be the Jets. So look for them to have another top 5 pick in the draft next year. Last team I got to talk about who's having a terrible season as well as those Miami Dolphins, led by Tua turned the ball over. Man, when I say they are stinky right now, I don't know what they could possibly do to possibly turn this around, except for fire the head coach and the quarterback, because they are the head of the snake, and they're the reason that this team is not doing as well as they could be. Tua, he blames everybody else, and he says that we need to do things differently, but he's not playing differently. His play is not showing anything that he's doing differently. And if you want a real leader and somebody as a quarterback, he should be the main guy that's showing differences on that field. And he's just not doing that. Still turning the ball over, blaming other situations. Like Tua, that's not the way that you're going to get your teammates to play for you. And Mike McDaniel, he's a coach that just sits back and lets the fire burn. He doesn't try to put it out in any type of form or fashion. He's not trying to rally his guys. I don't see him yelling at anybody. What type of head coach are you trying to be? I know you're not used to being a head coach. Like, you came in as a coordinator, but you have to do something before you're on the couch and not coaching anything. So the Dolphins, they looks like their season is going to be a wrap. They already lost their number 1 receiver, Tyreek Hill, for the year with that dislocated knee and torn ligaments. Jalen Waller, he's not really a guy that can step up to be a number 1, I don't think. And that defense is middle of the pack, bottom 5 at best right now. So they have to figure things out in Miami. They'll probably have a top 3 pick next year the way things are going. Hopefully they get a franchise quarterback, because they definitely need one, because I don't think Tua is any more than a backup at this point now in his career. So hopefully the Dolphins get those fixed and get it fixed soon, because it's too sunny in Miami to be sad and mad at your football team. All right, on to college football. I got to talk about my Hurricanes taking that terrible L against those Louisville Cardinals last Friday night. We took that loss 24-21 in our hometown. And I just can't believe what I saw, honestly. Carson Beck was playing great up until this point, and he just looked like he lost all faith in the system and himself, throwing 4 picks. He had about 271 yards passing, but he threw those 4 picks. Should have been 5 because one got called back. But I just hate to see him like that, because I thought he was over that Georgia slump and, not being able to trust himself. And we had the receivers to get him going, and he just looked like a shell of himself, unfortunately. So I don't like what I see. Hopefully he'll get back right and correct himself this upcoming week. But the bright spot on our offense was Malachi Toney. That guy is an absolute baller, man. He is electric. He breaks tackles. He's tough. He's only 5'7", but he will run through your whole defense if you let him. And I just love what I saw from him. He led us. He had over 135 receiving yards. Should have been more. He had a couple touchdowns. So just look out for him, because he is definitely the best true freshman in the league, right? In the nation right now, and he probably will be a top prospect when he's ready to come out in the draft for sure. Now, my defense, they didn't do much in the first half, but the second half they shut Louisville down for the most part. They couldn't get much going, and I was proud to see that, because we struggled last year in stopping teams in the second half of ball games. So I'm glad they got that right. But unfortunately, Carson Beck couldn't overcome that. And then also, Cristobal made a questionable decision on that last drive. We were in the red zone, in field goal position to tie the game up, but you want to give the ball to Carson Beck and make him throw a quick out to eventually seal the game for Louisville, because they caught that pick. And I hated to see that, because I thought we was going to run the ball and just kick the field goal, go to overtime, trust our defense, and win the game. But unfortunately, it didn't go out like that. So we have to correct these things and, just clean up the small stuff. And my offensive line, they have to get going, because we didn't really have a rushing attack going last week either. So we have to fix all these things, but I still have confidence in my guys. One loss doesn't define the season. So hopefully we'll get right back on track and get back onto this championship track that we know that we can get to. So we have a couple of big games I just want to briefly touch on this week. We have Texas A&M going up against the LSU Tigers in Death Valley. It's going to be a huge SEC battle, man, and probably a battle for Brian Kelly's life as a head coach, because if he doesn't win this game, I'm sure he will get ran out of LSU, because they cannot take not having too many successful seasons in a row, and he's just not lived up to the expectations that he was hired for. And we all know Texas A&M is serious this year. They're ranked number 3 in the nation right now, led by Marcel Reed, one of the most dynamic dual threat quarterbacks in the nation right now. And I think it's going to be a tough ball game for LSU, man, because I don't think they have enough to really stop him defensively. But it will be a close battle. I don't think LSU will just go in there and lay down. No, Garrett Newsomer is going to try to prove a point that he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. So we shall see. But I think I got Texas A&M pulling this one out. It's going to be a close battle. It's going to be hard fought. But I got Texas A&M pulling this out 28-24 in Death Valley. Another big-time matchup I want to touch on is the Oklahoma Sooners going up against the Ole Miss Rebels, a battle in the SEC. Now, it's going to be a huge matchup, and I think it's going to be a close one for sure. But I think Oklahoma is just not ready for Ole Miss, man. Ole Miss has Trinidad Chambers, their quarterback. He's leading them with over 1,500 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. And I think he would just bring that efficiency into Oklahoma and continue to help them win ball games against this tough Sooners team. Now, the Sooners are led by John Maytier. He's thrown for over 1,500 yards and 7 passing touchdowns, but he has about 6 interceptions on the season. So he's a little bit more reckless with the ball. So I think Ole Miss will come in there with a smart game plan led by Lane Kiffin. He's going to come in there and just execute the offense and get his defense going to stop Maytier. And I think they'll win in a reasonable fashion, man. It's going to be at least a 7-point win for Ole Miss. I think they'll win this one 35-28. It seems like all the big-time matchups are happening in the SEC this weekend. The last one we got to talk about is those Mizzou Tigers going up against the Vanderbilt Commodores. Now, the Vanderbilt Commodores, led by Diego Pavia, they're not a pushover this year whatsoever. Pavia is leading the Commodores with over 1,500 passing yards and 15 touchdown passes. Now, Bo Privolo for the Mizzou Tigers, he's leading them with over 1,600 passing yards and 11 passing touchdowns. So it's going to be a shootout for sure. Both quarterbacks know how to sling it. Both offenses run efficiently as long as the quarterback play is there. So I think it's going to be a shootout. So I got to go with the home team in this one, man. I think Vanderbilt is just a team that has that dog in them this year. They've proven a lot of people wrong over the course of this season. So I think they'll just continue to do that as well. So I have the Vanderbilt Commodores winning this one. It's going to be a good battle, but I think they'll win 38-27, Vanderbilt Commodores. The NBA is back, and boy, did it start off in a hot fashion. Led by Victor Wembanyama with 40 points, 15 rebounds with no turnovers. Yeah, it's going to be a season to remember for sure. All of these guys in the league are showing why they are in the league and why they are what we call stars. Also, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in back-to-back double overtime games. The first game he had 35 points. The next he had 55. Then you had Luka opening night with 43, 12, and 9. Also, Ant-Man had 40 plus. Then we had a surprising Aaron Gordon with 50 points against the Golden State Warriors. And Chef Curry responded with 42 of himself. So just a great start to the NBA right now, guys. I love what I'm seeing from just the offensive production from a lot of guys that we didn't expect to be this type of offensive player. So I love where the game is going. I think it will get back to the competitive basketball that we grew up watching. It's just going to take time. This is a new era of basketball, younger players. Everybody wants to dribble, shoot. As you can see, Wemby is 7'5" and is doing things that 6-foot guards can't do. So it's going to be an interesting season for sure. I'm just happy that the NBA is back. So we have much more to talk about just in football and baseball. So welcome back to the league and welcome back NBA. So since the NBA is back, I got to give you guys my top 5 MVP candidates, guys who I think just have a great shot of bringing that home bringing that award home this year. First, I have Luka Doncic with the LA Lakers. Then we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the OKC Thunder. Then we have Giannis Antetokounmpo with the Milwaukee Bucks. Then we have Victor Wembanyama with the San Antonio Spurs. Last but not least, I might have a sleeper for you guys, is Mr. Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons. All of these guys who I just mentioned can do it all. They can shoot, they can rebound, they can pass, they can play defense. It's just something that is instilled in them. And I think that they have the best shot of winning MVP as long as their team has success and can at least make the playoffs or make a decent run. These guys will be in that discussion for sure. Now I know I left out guys like Jokic and Embiid and guys that we already seen win the MVP. But I think it's just a new era, and I think these young guys are hungry and ready to show why they are the best in the league, as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did, winning the regular season MVP and the Finals MVP. So look out for these guys. But my pick for this award is that alien, that guy, Victor Wembanyama, man. If you saw his first game performance, you know he is on a different mission this year for sure. He's looking like a monster in the making. And I think with the with the mentoring he got over the summer from Hakeem the Dream, Kevin Garnett, Jamal Crawford, guys who were just prolific in their time, he's going to take that next step, man. As long as he stays consistent and healthy, it's not too many people. It's nobody actually who can stop Wembanyama because he's 7'5" and can play like a guard. So I have Victor winning the MVP this year. So let me know who you guys think will win MVP. Drop it in the comments and just let me know. But Wemby is definitely in that MVP mode. And since I'm a Heat fan, I have to briefly touch on my Miami Heat and what we did this past Wednesday. My Heat, we look like we're going to be competitive this year. I know we lost. It was a tough battle with the Magic, but I like what I saw, especially from our new addition, Norman Powell. He led us with 28 points. He was looking like he's going to be a consistent factor in our offense for sure this year, especially when we get Tyler Hero back healthy. He's going to look up to par for sure. Then we also had Davion Mitchell. He had 16 points and 11 assists. Looks like he's going to be a good playmaker for us and a good PG. Also, on the defensive end, he's a dog, so we definitely need that. Andrew Wiggins had 18 points, which is okay for a season opener. I need him to keep that consistency. Bam Adebayo, he only had 15 and 12. I need Bam to be a little bit more productive offensively. We all know what he brings to the defensive end. But he just needs to stay consistent. I want Bam to at least average around 20 to 22 points this year, man, because we are paying him to be a franchise guy. He needs to play like that for sure. But a big disappointment was from Khalil Ware, man. I thought he was going to be one of them ones this year for sure. But he just didn't look right, and he didn't get much playing time from Spo. So I don't know what the issue is there, but we have to get that figured out because that guy is too talented. He has the tools that he needs to be a good player in this league. Like, he was shutting down Wemby in the preseason. Like, we have to get this guy going for sure. Spo needs to figure that out. I don't know if it's just he has to trust him more or what, but hopefully we get that ship corrected for sure because we have a talented roster. I feel we can at least get a 6 or 7 seed in the playoffs. So be on the lookout for my Heat. I know it's early. It's still a lot of games to be played, but Miami Heat, we know what winning basketball looks like, and we are on the way. Now, last but certainly not least, we have to talk about the biggest matchup in baseball, the World Series kicking off tonight. We have the LA Dodgers going up against the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, the LA Dodgers are looking to join history, being one of the few teams to go back-to-back and being the first in over a quarter of a century. So we're expecting to see a big-time performance from them, led by their generational talent, Shohei Ohtani. He leads the way with over 55 home runs, 102 RBIs, and just a sensational pitcher as well. He had over 10 strikeouts in his last appearance at the mound. So he is just one of the best that we've ever seen. We've never seen a guy who can pitch at a great level as him and also hit and field at a great level as Ohtani, man. Just a generational player for sure. And he also has great help with to go with him. He has Freddie Freeman. He has 24 home runs on the season and 90 RBIs. Then Mookie Betts is right there with him with 20 home runs and 82 RBIs. So just a well-rounded Dodgers team, man, looking to really implement why they're one of the best in this league. Now, the Toronto Blue Jays, they're not a pushover, though. They won 94 games this year and are rightfully so. They have a lot of talent as well, led by George Springer with 32 home runs and 84 RBIs. Also, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the son of the legend Vladdy. He has 23 home runs and 84 RBIs. And then they have Bichetti at second base. He has 18 home runs and 94 RBIs. So they have a pretty good team as well. I think they'll be able to stick in with the Dodgers with the bats and the fielding because they just have everything that they need. But the Dodgers just have too much, man. They have too much star power everywhere at every position that they need. And they have the fielding, they have the hitting, they have the pitching, they have the coaching. So I just think the Dodgers are going to win this matchup. It's going to be a long, drawn-out matchup. It should go to either 6 or 7 games. But I think the LA Dodgers just have too much. Led by Ohtani, I think he's trying to really stamp that he's one of the best to ever play this game. And I think he will do that in this series. So look out for those Dodgers to win this series in either 6 or 7 games. So that's a wrap for episode 9 of Ball Talk with Paul. I appreciate you guys rocking out with me as always. Today we talked some NFL dominance, some college football chaos, some NBA fireworks to start off the season, and of course the MLB World Series. So again, if you like to see this content, make sure you follow me on all platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at Ball Talk with Paul. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow. And remember, we always keep it real here at Ball Talk. And I appreciate you guys rocking with me. So until next time, I'm your host, Paul, and we're out.